Hey guys, Ronnie Chavez here, and today we're doing a tutorial on the roundoff backflip. Alright, before we jump into this, I'm not a gymnast. I don't have perfect form on these things. I was never trained by a coach or anything, so I know I'll get criticism on my form and technique and teaching kids how to do this in their backyard. But if you're safe and you're just aware of what you're capable of and what you already can do, you can totally learn how to do this trick. And so, before actually learning this, make sure you've learned proper back tuck and maybe a cartwheel. Those things will definitely help you out on this tutorial, so be sure to check out the links for those videos. But otherwise, let's get started. Alright, so right now we're going to start working on the roundoff. Now if you already know how to do a roundoff, you can go ahead and click this skip jump link, which will take you further into the video when we actually start working on the transition from the roundoff to the backflip. But for now, if you need to learn both, we're going to start working on the roundoff. Okay, now the roundoff, if you checked out my cartwheel tutorial, it's going to be very similar in the setup, how you start into it. The difference is, instead of being like a wheel rolling over like this, you're actually going to be starting more forward and then landing more backwards so that you can land in position to do the backflip. So there's a few key tricks to getting the roundoff. One is planting, okay? You're gonna plant similar to the cartwheel. So I'm gonna plant my right, if I'm taking off my right leg, I'm planting my right hand down first, and then I'm bringing my left hand over. The thing you can do with roundoffs, you can actually add variation. You can do it from like a cartwheel setup, or you can actually reach your hand all the way over like this, so you're pushing straight from that position. But basically, you just want to start practicing the twisting motion from planting your hands on the ground and kicking over. So as you plant your hands, you're going to kick that leg and then bring your feet together, and then it's a twist in your hips and torso to bring you back around straight. It's important that you go straight over with the roundoff, because if you're going out to the side or have any angle with your legs, it's going to be really hard to land center and straight to go into the backflip. And so we're going to come down, plant our hands, kick one leg up, bring our feet together, twist, and come together like that. So that's your basic roundoff technique. A couple things to keep in mind is you want to keep your body straight and centered. If you go off center, then that kind of happens and it throws you off axis. You also want to practice whipping this trick faster and faster, because that's what's going to give you power. So to whip this trick faster, you want to kick your leg harder. You can actually get a little bit of push from your arms, but you don't want to bend them too low. You still want to keep them pretty strong, and then it's all in your core, just bringing it tight as you flip around. Something else you can practice for the roundoff, just to help you get a little bit more whip and power out of it, is actually just doing a handstand and just whipping your back onto your feet. So practicing that motion and practicing landing up and tall will be important for when you do the roundoff to backflip. Alright, now that you've got your roundoff down and you're ready to start doing a backflip out of it, make sure you actually know the technique for a backflip, because just because you know a really good roundoff doesn't mean you're going to be able to backflip out of it. It just means the roundoff is going to give you more power when you do a backflip. So make sure you learn a proper backflip. Your backflip doesn't have to be amazing. You don't have to be able to do a super high standing back tuck to be able to round off backflip, but it helps at least knowing that you're comfortable getting around. As you're doing the roundoff, remember to get the speed, the whip, the power, and then when you're landing the roundoff ready to go into the backflip, you want to make sure you're landing tall. You're ready to jump up and set high with the backflip, because if you're landing too low here, it means you're not going to be getting proper height, because your set's going to be there at this height. And so you want to make sure you're really punching high, and when you're landing the roundoff, you're actually not even bending or jumping at all. You're using your whip and power to block against the ground to push you upwards instead of allowing you to keep going backwards. And so that's the whole idea, is you're transferring your whipping motion and your forward motion into upwards motion, and then you're just connecting that with the backflip. So then you punch the ground, and at this point you have all this momentum. You still want to kind of fight it a little bit so that it's pushing you up instead of backwards, so that you get your chest up high, you set your arms, and then immediately as your feet begin to leave the ground, that's when you tuck your knees to your chest and start your rotation. And you'll notice if you timed it right, it'll give you a lot more power and whip in the actual backflip. But you have to make sure you time it right, because if you go too soon out of the round off, then it means you're not going to get proper height. If you go too late, then it means you're going to fly backwards and not get any power out of it. Or if you go extra late, it means you'll basically be doing your round off, standing there, and then doing a standing back tuck, which means the round off won't have been any use for you. Another problem you can run into doing the round off backflip is sometimes when you're first learning and you actually can do the backflip, you may start going off to the side, and that means your round off isn't perfectly straight, or that your twist, you're either twisting too much out of the round off so that you're flipping at an angle, or you're not twisting enough so you're not landing straight backwards. And so to help fix that, it's good to find a straight line somewhere that you can practice the round off on. And what you're going to do is just make sure the whole time your body is perfectly centered on that line as you do the round off and backflip. And if you're off somewhere, then you just adjust it to keep you on that line. So that's the basic technique for a round off to backflip. Obviously, I don't have gymnast form like I mentioned, but that's the basics for learning this trick, and then you can always adjust your form, change up your style, add different variations to it. This is just the basic technique you need to be able to do a decent round off backflip. Outside of that, it's up to you guys to add your own style and variations, because that's what free running is all about. So thanks for watching this tutorial. I'm going to be coming out with more this summer because, you know, I was in China, so I've been super busy, but now I got a little bit more time on my hands, so I want to give you guys some more tutorials. So let me know in the comments what tutorials you want to see, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.